Hey, what's up, everyone? Squatch Fox, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Okay. So, how's everyone doing? I guess a lot of you are staying at home through this quarantine. You know, for me, honestly, I kind of stay at home a lot to begin with, so it hasn't really affected me too much. I mean, when I'm sitting here animating, I work from home, so my day-to-day life hasn't changed too much. I just I've been avoiding crowds, I guess. I don't go to the grocery store as much as I usually do. My gym's been closed down, so I can't even get any exercise. But it's okay, because really don't want to get coronavirus. The numbers in Canada are just still increasing, like, exponentially, so yeah. I mean, they're still low, but who knows what we're going to be like in a couple weeks. I'm just hold on here. There we go. That's better. Okay. Just have my live chat in this Firefox tab thing. Trying something new. Do you voice Mischief? It sounds like you do. Maybe by pitching your voice down. Yes, I do Mischief's voice. Okay, so I'm working on episode 20, which is kind of crazy to think about, that I made 20 episodes, or about to. I'm planning out the next few episodes, and I pretty much have the next 4 episodes like planned. Just a matter of me writing out the scripts for them. And there will be a conclusion, because this will be the end of part 2, be a conclusion to the storyline. And then what happens after interface is going to be something new. Possibly using the same characters. I won't get into it too much. I'm just saying that this interface thing is not going to be like something I drag out forever to, you know, just because I can. It will have an ending. And when I start something new, it will be sufficiently different, but while keeping the same tone and aesthetic and stuff. So So yeah, I'm doing episode 20 right now. I'm thinking I'm going to keep the art style the same because I don't see the point in changing it. There's a few things I would like to do. Like, it'd be cool to have like some bloom effects around lights and that sort of thing. But that would require me changing the art style. So I don't want to do that. Right now I just use solid colors. So what I'm doing right now, I'm drawing cattails. Because in this episode there are cattails. You guys ever used to like break these things apart and like chuck them at your friends? Because that was like 50% of my childhood.
A whole 50%? Wow. What's the other 50%?
We used to, when we were kids, there used to be these cattails that were like, they grew in the swamp. And there used to be these other things. I don't know what they were called, but they were like, they had like little, they basically had like Velcro on the outside. I don't know what they, you know, kind of look like miniature coronaviruses. They grew on a plant, and you could pick them up and then just throw them at your friend, and it would like stick to their shirt like Velcro. And so you would usually do that right before the end of the lunch break during like junior high or whatever. So they'd have like a ton of these things stuck to their back while they go into class. Burrs is what they're called, yeah.
Bill Burrs.
Bill Burrs. I don't know why you guys are so worried about my title. It's Quarantine. I'm not gonna get shadow banned. You think I'm actually gonna get shadow banned for saying that? Quarantine?
Maybe.
There's probably tons of YouTubers doing it. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's happening in other sites because people are trying to profit off of it.
Let me just take a look. If I go to YouTube.
Let's just be like staying in my house.
Alright, I'll change the title. Just give me a second. Titles. I'll just call it Animating Interface.
How exciting. Animating.
Animating. Alright, title's been updated, so if you refresh the page... it's too late. I changed it. I figured if I'm not going to get demonetized from Corona Wave, I'll probably be fine, but whatever. Maybe they changed the rules recently. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, it's changed. Yeah, so, anyway, what was I talking about? I was talking about cattails. So you know these things, hold on here, let me just drag this over so you can see. Oh god. This is the fuzzy part of the cattail. So I'm going to be animating like those little fuzzy things coming out of the cattail. Oh, right, here it is. And I'm going to be doing this in Photoshop too, because there's like particle effects you can use. I mean, sorry, After Effects. So let me just add this to here. 640 by 480. Huh, I just heard a noise. And I don't know where it came from. Oh, someone pledged, except I can't see who it was. Thank you. Whoever that was. Sorry, I can't see your name there. Jesus. Okay. Alright, so let me just zoom in here. I don't know why this thing is wrong aspect ratio. Alright, that's why. 640. 480. Okay, there we go. Yeah, thank you everyone for downloading my little EP there that I made. Honestly, I wasn't planning to make it Corona Wave. What happened was I had an EP I was planning to release, and I was getting it mastered at this place called Curve Pusher in the UK. This first time I did mastering that I didn't do myself because I wanted to see if it would make a difference. Like, it can be difficult to do your own mastering, so I just wanted to get a professional to do it for me. So they had the masters finished Friday or Thursday, I forget. And I had this animation I was working on, the guy sitting in the chair. I was gonna do some sort of lo-fi beat thing, but then I thought, let's turn it into clickbait. So that's what happened. I think it worked out because it's kind of like the music is kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like it feels like you take too much cough syrup or something, too much medicine. So maybe it's kind of like. Okay, sorry, I'm just having a hard time concentrating right now. I have to animate my cat tail. There, see how it's kind of animating a little bit? Just enough there. Give it some movement. So I have one cat tail there. I got another one down here, so I can just like that. This one has more of the stuff removed from it. Let me just save this. Okay, what are you guys saying? What inspired you to turn Mischief into a frog? Well, he just likes to be things that he can... well, he witnessed the death of the frog from the heron, right? And so he was able to absorb the energy. And obviously, his character is that he would be so excited that he has something new to play with that he would instantly want to be the frog. But he was smart enough not to do it outside where he could get eaten by the heron. So that's kind of the story behind that, I guess. Also, I just thought, it'd be funny if he was a frog. I mean, sometimes I just think, it would be funny if he looked a certain way, Nothing too complicated. What are your thoughts on Pilot Red Sun? I get asked that question a lot, and it's basically I just love his channel, and he was one of the channels that inspired me to start animating. And I've probably seen all of his animations like 4 or 5 times at least. Some of them probably up to 20 times. So. Danky, were you slapping mashed potatoes to make that sound of him moving? Actually, I made a behind-the-scenes video just about making that sound effect, and unfortunately, it's only available to Patreons. But essentially, I got a bowl of spaghetti, and I was like slapping it with my hand, and it kind of made a mess because I like added oil to it to make it sound like slippery. It was like sounding too dry and stuff. So you know, if you're interested in seeing that, it's on the Patreon. I'm planning on doing more behind the scenes videos just to add more value to it. I don't want to like upload them directly to my channel because they're not actually animations. They're just something fun to do once in a while, I guess. I got like friggin' like oil all over my desk and pants. It was really kind of dumb. So I can't do the voice of Mischief on my own because I use a bunch of filters. Did you use other programs other than Photoshop before starting to use Photoshop for animation? A long time ago, I used this Adobe Flash, what do you call it, or Micromedia Flash, like grade 11 or something. We had like, this was a long time ago, like over 10 years ago. We had to do an animation as and I forget what the animation was, but I think it was something to do with a guy falling into a wood chipper. And my friend Colin helped me work on this, and I think a different friend too. I forget, it was so long ago. I don't have that animation anymore. But the thing I don't like about Flash is that you have to like do this. The way of animating within it is like all based on tweens and stuff, like the thing called tweening, and you make keyframes. I just don't like the flatness of the sharpness of the edges and stuff, and I don't know. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm drawing the little seeds. And I think I'm gonna like scale them down within After Effects, but basically I think they look something like this. Oh, Colin's here in the chat. It says it was some kind of safety video, I remember. Yeah, it was something like a safety video, and then someone falling into a wood chipper. I don't really remember. I remember the sound effect was like a chainsaw sound for like a minute, and it was just clipping really loud. What inspiration do you get for your music? I listen to a lot of different music. If you go to my playlist page, there's a bunch of different music that I listen to, so you can get an idea. I used to listen to this band called Boards of Canada a lot, which probably is my main influence. They use a lot of textures and kind of warbly sound effects, so I kind of like that. There's some musicians like the guy who made the soundtrack for Silent Hill, Akira. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, but and then there's Jesper Kyd, who did the soundtrack for the Hitman games. I kind of like got into like video game music for some reason more than like actual music. So I guess that's probably my main influence. On how the music sounds, and over the past 10 years of making music, it just sort of changed kind of on its own from, I don't know, messing around and stuff. So Matt R., would you consider streaming a music production session? I've done a few of those actually. If you were to go in the live stream playlist and scroll through, there's a few of them where I'm using Logic, but I honestly don't like doing the live streams with the music because I can't. Like basically I had to set everything up and just forget that you guys are here, and I get a lot of questions and stuff, and it kind of interrupts my flow. So, I mean, I guess I could do one live stream like that, but another thing is when I sit down to make music, like 90% of the time it sounds like crap, and then that like 10% time when I sit down and make something, it actually sounds okay, and then there's maybe like 1% of time when I do something that actually sounds good. So it's basically a lot of me just messing around on the keyboard. I don't like compose the tracks ahead of time like some people do. Like I don't have the ability to do that. So okay, I'm gonna try to add some particle effects to these cattails, and we'll just see what happens. I forget which program or which plugin it is. Is it Particle Systems 2? Let me just see. Particle. There's one where you can like replace the actual particle. I don't think it's this one. Is it Particle World maybe? Let me try this one again. Particle. Particle Playground, maybe? Charles Lemaine. Hey, man. Thank you very much, Charles. I hope you're doing all right down there. And thank you for that. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate it. Do you draw up a physical storyboard before drawing and animating on the computer? No, I don't do a storyboard. I've done a few storyboards actually. I can show you guys. I did them only because it was for the Adult Swim thing. And let me load them up. Hold on. And it's because well, let's see here. Just, give me a second here, guys. Okay, here's one. Yeah, so I'd say that most of the time I don't do storyboards, but because they commissioned me to do a couple animations for them, I felt that it was necessary to storyboard them out before I started animating, in case they wanted me to change things. I don't end up wasting more time drawing things, and so in the storyboard, this is the one where he's at the dentist. It's just like a really rough drawing. It basically just plans out every shot that I plan to do, and the next page, it's the same thing. He's like kind of... I changed it a little bit. I don't think he's looking at a book in the final animation, but there he is inside the tooth. So, just like a really rough thing. I think this only took me like a couple hours, maybe probably just an hour or two. I can't really remember, but because I don't like usually have a client, I don't do storyboards because I'd rather just, like, I know what it looks like in my head, I'd rather just draw it. And I think for the other ones, I might have done another storyboard. What was it? Striking Ball, maybe? Or Stranger? Can't seem to find them. And I think I only really did one storyboard for them. The other times I just gave them a script. And then they just approved the script or whatever. If I was doing like a pilot or something for them, I'd probably have to do a more in-depth storyboard. I don't really know. Okay. Let me just see here. I can't figure out this particle thing, so this might be a... It has to be a particle system. I don't understand. Where's the... Maybe I should just like look this up. Particle of image graphics. CC, hold on. Twin Betrayals. So if you want to sample some music, just send me an email to info@hexsystem.com and just tell me what it's about, and that way I can approve it or not for the music. I probably will if it's... People ask me all the time. I say, yeah, it's no problem. Just give me an idea what they're for, and it's better to email me over email for that. Okay, textured quad polygon inside CC particle world. That's what it is. All right, so particle world, particle, textured quad polygon. Oh, I just, now what? Then particle texture, set the texture layer. Particle texture. Oh, okay, it's hidden. Texture layer. Okay. That's why I couldn't figure it out, because it's hidden under the texture tab. So, wait. God damn. There's no space on this desk. Okay. Or a seed. Got my seed. Put it right there. Okay. Texture layer. Seed. There we go. Okay, so let's see if I can do something with this seed now. Birth size. Death size. That's interesting. Okay, size variation. Initial rotation. Let's see what happens if I just play this. Okay, they just like fall out like there's gravity. So, physics. Gravity should actually be minus, negative, because they're going to be floating away. Resistance. Initial velocity? Let's just see. Kaya Butterfield. Hey man, I don't usually participate in this live stuff, but you got some freaky, amazing talent. Truly one of my favorite artists. Thank you, Kaya Butterfield. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Thank you for that. Okay. All right, so I got my seed coming out there, but it looks like it disappears too quickly. So I'm gonna change the death rate or something. I think a death size. Oh, it's longevity producer. Oh, here we go. Let's make it like probably like, I don't know, like 10 seconds. Okay, so they're all coming out there, but I don't like how they're like all at different angles and stuff. I think they would normally come out from a certain side because that's the side of the cattail that it's coming out of. So let's see if I can initial rotation. Rotation speed. Okay, there we go. See? So rotation speed. They can rotate, but only after they come out of the cattail. And initial, yeah, so now if I play it, let's see. Jeez, this looks kind of oddly realistic. Like, just sort of, I guess. Anyway, Tommy Evolve. You inspire me. Have you tried psychedelics? Thank you for the super chat. I don't know if I can really get into your question because I don't want to possibly talk about something that could get me in trouble with the terms of service on YouTube. So I do appreciate your super chat, but I don't know. Maybe send me an email or something. Let's see here. Okay. So my seeds coming out. I feel like they're coming out too quickly. So let's see. Velocity smaller. I think there's too many of them too. It's like crazy. They don't come out like a geyser. So producer. Let's see. There's got to be something here. Okay, animation explosive, directional axis. Ooh, that looks a little bit better. Let's see. That's kind of weird. We'll see it. Cone axis, viscous. It's like water. Twirl. Jet sideways. That's. I kind of like the directional axis here. If I can limit the amount that are being produced, I don't know where that is. It's under somewhere. Producer. Particle type. Oh, I made it down here. Rotation speed. No. Hey, I thought there was an entire team working on her face. It's really just, well, it's not just me. I mean, it is. I do most of it, but Carolina is here helping me. She helps me with the script and storyline, and she does some of the animation as well. But I do pretty much most of it, including the music. So, and then of course the other voice actors that are not myself are also help. And I don't think I could really be doing any of this without your guys' support. So it's kind of like a group effort, even though it seems like it seems like there's one guy here. I'd love to know what internal, external influences you had in order to create Mischief's design. What are the things above his eyes, and was his appearance meant to juxtapose his personality? So the thing is, a lot of his personality wasn't even developed when I drew him, and his personality sort of developed as I was making the series. I didn't have his personality kind of like pre-planned. A lot of stuff in her face was something I never quite planned. His character design himself, I drew him several times in a sketchbook in the past, and I just kind of decided to use him as a character. And there wasn't really... I don't have a really good answer, to be honest with you, so... Okay, I just need to figure out my seed production capacity to like lower it. Like, oh, where is it? Birth size? Okay, first of all, max opacity should be at 100. And let's see, extra? What the hell does that mean? Just like spreads it out. Resistance? No. Oh my god, it's right at the top. It's the very first thing. Jesus. There you go. Birth rate. That's what I wanted. So... they come out like this. That's probably even still too much. I mean, they don't come out like that, really. I would even go less than that, maybe 0.5. I don't know if I can do it less than that, though. Turn the extra up. I guess that's okay. Charles LeMay. Oh, hey, thanks, man. It's birth rate at the top. Yeah, I've been using After Effects for about, like, I don't know, like 10 years, and I still don't know what I'm doing sometimes. Like, I don't really use the CC particle world, so that's probably why. Let's make these a little bit smaller. Depth size, they would shrink, I guess, as they're blowing away in the wind, but size variation, let's make it not so much, maybe 20%, 25. And when it's born, it looks like it comes out of... I guess it doesn't matter too much, because what I'm going to have to do after this is put a threshold on the grid. So let's see, just turn the grid off. Turn you off. So now, that is my particles coming out. Oh, I should probably make sure that... okay, I'm at 15 frames a second, okay. I probably have to actually put all this onto a black layer, not a adjustment layer. Let's just put a black here for a second. So that's kind of cool. Producer, let's see, position. Abdul Mahdi, hey man, don't worry about it, guys. Like the merch and stuff. Hey, I'm gonna try to put up some sales soon, and so you guys can save. But I know that it is kind of expensive. Like, it's just because of the custom nature of it and stuff. It increases the cost. But Metalis A. Has the story of interface been planned from the start, or do you make it up along as you go? When I first started, it wasn't really all the way planned out. I probably had the next episode in mind. I have right now though, I have the whole thing kind of planned out in my head, so it was a little bit back and forth. It wasn't completely made up ahead of time, but it also was pretty spontaneous. Green Paradox, what's up with all the religious symbolism with Cami? She just kind of basically represents like the collection of ideas, which in culture is like from different places. So ultimately, it boils down to religion because that's kind of the traditional thing. But I mean, she could also include scientific information that's not religious. It just seems to be that it's like, and it's also kind of like a little bit of crossover between like gods and that sort of thing, because if it's a robot that can do supernatural abilities, then it would make sense that she got it from some sort of religious symbolism, I guess. That it's kind of hard to explain, I guess, but let me just see here. I need to work on my seeds right now. These are complicated questions. I have a more thoughtful explanation behind that, but just for calling it right now is kind of... I'm getting a snake tomorrow. What should I name it?
A snake?
You got Caroline excited. I don't know.
What does it look like? What color is it?
What color is the snake?
How big is it?
Yes, how big is it?
How many patterns does it have?
How many patterns does it have? Okay, for now I'm going to pre-compose this and just put it as its own thing here. Call it the seed thing. I need to put solid black behind it because it gets him to figure out the opacity. So essentially, that's kind of how the cattail thing will look like. I mean, I think it needs to be probably a little more to the right. And I think the emitter needs to be stretched a bit because position radius. Here we go. Radius like that. Yeah, that looks okay. I just think there's just too many of them, but for now it's all right. I wonder what would happen if I posterize the time and set it to 7.5, which is half my base time rate. I think I might do something like this because it just makes it look like it's more like animated. Let's see here. Seed 2 is going to have a slightly different amount of I mean, it looks okay. I'm gonna have to tweak that myself. I think I feel like there's probably just too much. But I don't know. I maybe should like watch a video of a cattail, see if it actually, like in the wind, how much comes out of it, you know? See, if I do it at 7.5 and I have one of the cattails off frame, like off this offset, see, one frame moves, and then the other one moves, that one moves, and then that one moves. It kind of like, it kind of feels like it plays back at 15 frames a second, even though it's not. It kind of makes it more, makes it feel a little bit more like it was like rougher, I guess, by animating it by hand. Because if I don't do that posterize thing, it might look like it's too smooth. See what I'm saying? Like that looks a little bit out of place in my series because I don't usually have things that smooth, but what do you guys think? Okay, let's go back to the comments here. How long does it usually take to make an episode of Interface? Can you finish it within a week? No, it takes me about a month and a half. Usually about 2 weeks just to make the music, about 3 weeks to do the animation, and I need like at least a week to figure out what's actually going to happen and the story and the script, and like if I have voice actors, I have to hire them and get them to do the recordings and get them back to me and that sort of thing. And then once everything's done, I have to do the subtitles, edit it like, you know, properly, and do the exports and everything, and it's so really, you know, I've been releasing an episode like one every 2 months, really, on roughly on average, I think, or one every month and a half, and it's a lot of work that adds up. And so when you add that and combined with like my other things I have to do in life, like you know, edit videos for a client or whatever, or, you know, it can get kind of overwhelming. But it's not so, or I mean, now I'm pretty much working, I'd say like 95% of it doing Umami stuff. Like I'm working on this full time now. So yeah, like, I mean, I feel like I should be spending more time doing each episode. Like I should spend like 3 months, but I can't do that because just the nature of YouTube's algorithm and that sort of thing. If I were to wait that long, I feel like the interest in the series might wane a little bit. And it also forces me to make decisions quickly and anyway. All right, so I got my cattails here. I'm going to add in the background now, so I'm going to do that in Photoshop. And of course, these cattails are going to be swaying back and forth, but I have to do that some other time, not during the live stream, because I have to like tie the particles to the thing, and it just might be a little complicated. So for now, they're just static. Oh, there's also hold on. Like these leaves, I guess, or what do you call them? So I'll just yeah, so I'll just put them like there for now, but basically they will also be swaying back and forth. And I put the background in, it's gonna look like a bit of a river. So I'm gonna save this. Purge the memory, because Metalis A, is it okay if I post your Instagram page here? Yeah, you can go ahead, man. You can post that. It's I don't really post to it that often, but if you guys are interested in kind of like what I do day to day, you can. It's my full name, Justin Tomchuk, on Instagram. TMA too. I can't wait to startle my roommate with the mischief with food poster I'm going to put up in the kitchen. Keep up the amazing work. Thanks, man. Thank you for that support. I really do appreciate that. How old are you? Well, I'm going to be turning 30 this July, so talking to a 30-year-old boomer, I guess. All right, I'm gonna add the river in now. 640 by 480. Close this. Is this stream gonna have spoilers? No, I'm not gonna like give away story stuff. So I mean, you might one shot you might figure out something from it, but I'm not gonna talk about it. So I'm pretty sure the birth rate is bugged, and you can set it lower than 0.1, but it won't display correct number. Okay. Thank you, Zadok. I will keep that in mind. Because, well, maybe I can change it right now. Oh, wrong program. Let's see, I just had it open there. Oh, it's still open. Okay, let's just see what happens. Let's see here. Oh, Zadok, I think you're right. Thank you, man. Oh, that is better. That is much better. That feels like a more natural amount of seeds. You're a big help, Zadok. I appreciate that. Alfredo, how's it going? Thank you, Alfredo. I appreciate that, man. Umami, I just want to say I've shown a few of my coworkers your stuff, and we all look forward to your next project, whatever it may be. Pally McBeal, thank you. Appreciate the comment. Metalis A, if I send you money, will you sing Mary Had a Little Lamb on stream? Sorry, man, I don't sing, so my self-cringed amounts would just go off the chart, and I don't think I would be able to speak afterwards, so... sorry, you should have asked me before you super chatted, but thank you for that. How many more episodes of Interface will we have? I think there's going to be 24, so there's going to be 12 episodes in part 1 and 12 episodes in part 2. Solvent Man, what inspired you to create the obviously Paint app made style? Well, many different things, but for one, my friend showed me this animator called Pilot Red Sun, and I really love the style. Pilot Red Sun uses the same sort of pixelated style, but he does different things too. He does like blurring and like some other crazy stuff. And I pretty much just stay with the pencil tool. Pretty much that's it. And he also does things like he'll like draw like really thin, like crazy lines and stuff, like this sort of thing. And for my series, I just wanted to have everything kind of a little bit thicker, I guess. So everything's drawn a little bit thicker. So it's a similar style, but different. Another thing is, if I were to use the brush tool or whatever, I don't know, I just feel like you can get too detailed sometimes, like, and I think the thing I like about the pixelated, like another thing too, is if I were to like fill this color in, like it does weird shit like this where it makes a line around it, and what I like about using the pencil tool is basically like if I can fill in the colors real easily. I don't have to worry about you know, the aliasing and stuff like that. And it allows me to do other things too, like use the threshold tool in After Effects to my advantage. Turkey Tom, hey, thank you, Turkey Tom. One more thing is that if I were to do like if I were to do a non-pixelated style in the future, what I would probably do is the exact same thing that I'm doing now, but it would be like just on a larger scale. It would be like 4096. Like if I ever wanted to stop making it look pixelated, I would just still use the pencil tool, but I would do it at like 4K resolution, whatever, right? So essentially, this is what it would look like, nice and smooth. But when you zoom in, it's pixelated. And the reason why is the exact same reason that I just explained, because it makes filling in the colors extremely easy, and also I can use like the threshold to my advantage in other programs and stuff. And like really, when you watch it on a television, like a 4K television, you wouldn't see any of the pixels. It would just look normally. It would look like fine, really. So what I would do, I would just make it a higher resolution of the same technique, essentially. Yeah. But for now, 640 by 480 because that's what standard definition television was. I mean, it's not really. Standard definition television was 720 by 720 by 480, which was. But the thing is that it had a pixel aspect ratio, which means it stretched the pixels out to essentially look like 640 by 480. So I use 640 by 480. It's just compatible with a lot of things like CRT monitors and that sort of thing. Can you not feather the edges of the stroke with the pencil tool? When you use the pencil tool, as far as I understand, the edges don't get feathered. So if you look at the brushes and stuff, even see how it was all smooth in there? It doesn't get feathered when I actually draw it. That's why I use the pencil tool. You can use brushes, like this crazy one. Sorry, I just messed up there. Why is it switching over to the blur tool? I don't know. Dry media? Hold on. Oh, it switches it over to the brush. But you can change the mode, I think, or... let me just zoom in here. Dissolve. I think someone else, I think maybe it might have been Zadok, I forget, but he said you switch it over to dissolve mode. It does the same thing as a pencil tool. I just stick with the pencil tool. Because if I started doing stuff like this, it would change the style again. So. Okay, what was I doing? I was drawing a river. Right. It's like, I draw the river so many times in this series. I don't know if I need to really draw it again, but I probably will. We go back to episode 15. I drew a stream. I guess it wasn't a river. Down here, excuse me. So, well, the colors have to be different too for this scene, so. Maybe just start with red. Do you like Kubrick? Solid Man. Yeah, definitely. I love his movies. What's the sound in the background? That could be the coffee grinder. And Carolina was making coffee over there. Could also be the rain, because it's like pouring rain outside.
Oh my god, there's crazy storm out there.
Yeah.
Watch there be like flooding on top of all this. Holy shit.
How do you visualize what you want to draw and then not completely fuck it up when you actually draw it? I do fuck up a lot of things, so usually you just see the stuff that didn't get deleted. Right now I'm having like a hard time. Like I usually use like reference images too, so I might even do that right now if I just go to type in mirror.
Hi.
That's Carolina saying hello. Thank you, Swake. Hey, what does that say? It's in Polish.
It's not Polish, it's Czech.
Oh. I can't speak Czech, guys. I don't have a Czech reader over here. Carolina speaks Polish only. See, okay, there's a river there. So what I might do is I might just use it as a reference, like, to figure out how water moves, like, because this looks really crappy in my opinion. All right, that looks like crap. But if I use this image as like a base for figuring out where the highlights go, like I'd be like, okay, so it's like the frothy kind of water right here, right? So frothiness. Okay, maybe some more over here. Some more down here. And there's a rock. I'll just put a rock over here instead. Now I can delete the reference image. It just helps me a little bit figure out like perspective and things, I guess, because so now when I can like actually animate this properly, I think it just might take me a while to do. I think animating water is probably one of the hardest things, so I probably won't be able to finish it on the stream. I gotta get some water, guys. I'm like drying up. Give me a couple minutes. Alright, I'm back. I really hope the water isn't from the tap. Why not? What do you think is going to happen? I only drink tap water. Okay.
Fluids.
So I'm going to draw some rocks now. You can see how I've what my technique has kind of turned into a bit here. Just kind of draw a big black mass for one, and then take the darker shade to give some dimensions on the sides. Are you familiar with William Basinski's music? I don't know why, but my brain usually relates your work to it. Sorry, man, I'm not familiar with that, so I don't know who that is. But I'll check it out later, maybe. We're watching this at work because it's slow, and my coworker wanted to say that your voice is very soothing. Well, thank you, Pally McBeal.
What about me yelling in the background? Is that soothing?
Carolina wants to know, what about me? She doesn't have my smooth voice.
Is me occasionally insulting him also soothing?
So I just drawn the rocks a bit here. So had draw a lot of rocks in the last episode. I gotta figure out where my light source is, and apparently it's over on this side somewhere. Vincent Ebert, would you mind telling me what you did before YouTube? Before I started animating, I was a video editor for a company that it was basically I made videos for like the paid section of Playboy.com. In Montreal, they had an office here, and it was basically just like interviews and that sort of thing. Then I got laid off and started freelancing from home. I looked for jobs as a video editor on the internet, including Craigslist or Facebook, and I found a few contacts through Facebook groups who needed video editors. And people who can help on like corporate shoots, like that sort of thing. I met this guy who does a lot of corporate videos for video game companies here, so I worked on some video game trailers with him, and like interviews with the developers. You know how like a video game company like would have like a behind the scenes or something, they would hire him to do this, and I would work with him. So I did that freelance. After that, Carolina and I started a YouTube channel called Stereochroma, it's all documentaries, and that channel was pretty successful. The problem with it is that it requires a lot of expensive production. Like, we have to go out somewhere, find a company to feature, and it's all based on someone else's schedule, essentially. Like, we don't film ourselves with that channel. We feature companies and other people. And I used to do animations when I was a kid, essentially. My friend convinced me to start drawing animations again one day when he was here, so I just started messing around in Photoshop and made the first McDriven video, and it actually did pretty well, so I thought maybe I could continue doing it, and over time I guess my skills increased a little bit. So that's sort of the story about how I got started on my YouTube channel here. I've been working on this now for 3 years, so now I got about 3 years experience animating. And when I started, I didn't really have that much experience like doing hand-drawn animation at all. So those first couple of episodes are pretty rough, but yeah. So kind of a roundabout way. I didn't really think I'd be doing animation on YouTube. Like, that's probably the last thing I thought I'd be doing, honestly. But it seems to be what it just kind of turned it into, I guess, you know. Okay, so there's my rocks for now. They're okay. I think they need a few things. Something like this kind of makes it look like they're a little bit wet, I guess, like there's like water dripping off of them or something. Oops. Thank you for all the comments. For those people who are not speaking English, I'm sorry. I'm going to try converting one of them here. I'll translate this one. Let's see what it says. Oh, I see. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. Hey, well, thank you, Lebenspiel. I appreciate the comments. Do you use Blender for scenes like the blimp and the statue faces? The blimp was actually a 3D model. Well, it depends on what shot you're talking about, but it was a 3D model produced by Zadek, and he helped out there. The statue's face is hand-drawn, and I used a technique to make it look 3D. Essentially, I used the liquify tool, and I animated sections of the nose moving to emulate 3D, but it's not 3D, it's a flat drawing. And I wonder if there's a YouTube video, because I found this technique on YouTube and I thought it was really cool. Let's see here. I wonder if it's not going to show up. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm gonna copy and paste the link. So there's this guy who made a video on YouTube about, and it showed his technique to make 2D drawings 3D. So I posted a link there. You guys can check it out. Essentially, he uses the liquify tool, and it's a really cool technique. And he uses a lot of resources on the computer, though. So luckily for me, I work in such a low resolution, it doesn't really affect the computer too much. But if you had like a 4K file, I'm sure it would just take forever. But anyway. So now I'm going to add some more this kind of like rippling effect of the water around the rocks, because that's kind of where you would see the foaminess. And it's suddenly starting to look more like a river and less like a crappy paint drawing. The lines in the background would be thinner than the lines in the foreground. So that's why I'm going to do this. Make them nice and thin back there. And the highlights in the background will also be thinner. And I increase the size of the brush. Just want to break up the waves of water a bit more, so you don't see this stuff like the circle ends of the brush. Doesn't look very good. Worm Dream. Hey, mate. Mischief has a place of honor painted on the back of my battle jacket. Damn. That's pretty cool, man. Out of curiosity, how do you feel about the opposite of that 2D to 3D technique? Like what Arc Systems did with the new Guilty Gear games? The opposite. I don't even know what that is. Guilty Gear games. Arc System. Hey, Pally McBeal, if you get like a link or something to like an example of that, send me a link and I'll check it out. I guess you're saying they're using 3D to make things look like they're 2D? Like cell shading? I'm not really sure I'm not familiar with that game though, so. Austin, the parkour shooter. I'm not not self-taught. My dad was a graphic designer when I was a kid, so I learned a lot of stuff about drawing from him, but also I went to art school in Halifax, so I was like forced to learn art theory and that sort of thing. But I mean, I already knew that stuff from high school, which I also took art classes, so I learned art theory like 400 times, essentially, and yeah. Or color theory and that sort of thing. And the thing that... I mean, these are things that you could develop naturally over time, like a sense of like color, like balancing the colors and that sort of thing. But knowing how it, you know, color theory does help make your images look a little bit more stand out, I guess. When I animate stuff for the interface, I try to compose a scene in a certain way so that individual characters stand out from the background. Like if there's a scene where Mischief is, I won't put anything like red behind him. Or if part of the design of the story, it also helps that Henrik is like blue, but the sky isn't blue ever. So he naturally stands out against the background of the lighting. Yeah, so this is looking a little bit better now. Just thin this up a bit here. This shot isn't going to be completely red, black, and gray. It's like red scale, I guess. So there's going to be some pink too. Just in the water here, I guess. Just to give it a little bit more, like, I don't know, like a dimension to it, I guess, or something like that. Another thing I should probably draw is like some weeds. And even the lighter color pink here might help to have some reflection. Umami, I'm making a web series and I want to say it is inspired by Interface. Of course you can say that it's inspired by Interface. Yeah, man. Gara, I really wish you the best with that. You don't have to ask me for permission or anything. I mean, everything that I make has been inspired by something else, even though I don't maybe say, I guess that's why you're asking, because you're like probably going to use it like as a title or something, like inspired by Interface. You can go ahead, I don't care, that's totally fine with me. Garrett, and why don't you send it to me too, because I'd be interested in checking it out, you know? Mom Party, thank you for the comment there. How do you achieve Mischief's voice effect? So I record my own voice with this microphone that you hear me from right now, but I speak like a lot closer to it. Like I speak like really close, and I kind of have to make like a gravelly sound, and then I pitch shift it down and add compression and EQ and that. So and then a lot of what he says, it sounds like he speaks with like a certain tone. So that's basically it, I guess. All right, so here's my background. I should probably save before my computer crashes and I lose everything. EP20. Okay, so if I go to After Effects here, I have to put okay, there. Okay, so as you can see, there are some problems with the composition because it makes the cattail not stand out. So what I'm thinking I might do here is actually change the colors a little bit and possibly, let's just see what happens when I rotate the I almost feel like that works better when I flip it horizontally. So I'm gonna do that. But I'll do it in Photoshop, not... Oops. Should probably merge that down. How long did it take you to learn the basics of FL Studio? Well, actually, I don't use FL Studio. I use Logic Studio, but it doesn't really matter. They're essentially the same thing, just slightly differently organized. But to say, I mean, I've been using Logic for about 10 years, and there's a lot of things about it I still don't know how to use, so... You know, my advice would be just to start simple, make some simple songs. Look up a lot of YouTube videos on how to mix things properly, and try to make those simple songs as best you can, and then move on to something else. The only way to improve with the the only way to improve is to just keep making things. So when you animate, do you draw it a few times separately or just edit the original? I usually work off like if I'm making a new frame, I'll copy the previous frame and then I'll change it. But sometimes it makes it look weird and I'll just have to redraw the whole thing. I can show you some stuff from the last episode. Because when it comes to animation, I probably do less animation than a lot of other animators. Like if you were to look at Felix Colgrave, he does crazy amounts of movement. And my series is based on, it's pretty minimalist, honestly. The movement is quite minimal. And that's because, just for many different reasons, aesthetically, but also, if I were to animate everything in such detail, it would take me forever. So, like here's a walk cycle of the blue guy walking, right? So, I essentially copied his body for each of these frames, and I just redrew them. And I moved him up and down a little bit, and I had to draw his legs, and you know. So, like what I would do is I would take this frame, duplicate it, and then I would just redraw his legs. I would erase his legs and then redraw that section, and then sometimes I would go over the black lines just so that it doesn't look so static. Let's see, there's another shot here. Oh, here's one. This one was kind of complicated, as you can see the timeline down here. I did all this in Photoshop though, so he sits down. I mean, I just draw it frame by frame essentially. But you see how his head doesn't, like I copied his head, but there's other parts of his body that moves. So his head doesn't change, you know. I don't redraw his head for every frame, it'd be crazy. Wonder how different the show would be if you had 20 animators working on it. I think Austin, if there was 20 animators working on it, it would be... I don't know if it would even be better. I don't know if it would be better. It could be, like, it would be different, but it may not be... It would lose some of the minimalist charm, I feel like, you know? The episodes would be longer, but that doesn't mean it would be better either. It just means it'll be longer. Maybe the ideas will be a little bit more diluted, because the ideas in the episodes are the hard part for me. and I'm able to put them into episodes, and they come out sort of like poems almost. But if I were to have like 20 animators working on this, I feel like I would overdo it, you know, and then this something that was concise turns into something that's drawn out, but probably looks amazing to watch. And in some ways that might be more interesting too, but it's hard to say really, like if I had more animators. Like, my goal is in the future though is to have a couple more animators. If right now it's just me and Carolina helping out sometimes, but it'd be cool to have like other animators involved, because someone's trying to call me. I can't answer this right now. Okay, what was I doing here? Oh yeah, I was gonna change the colors because I feel like this is difficult to read. So let's just see what happens if I darken everything. Thanks, Carolina. I don't know why I didn't update in After Effects here. Just give me a second. Oh, I know why, because I changed the name of it to PSD. Oh, God. Okay, just give me a second here. Make sure all my files are organized, otherwise it's just a big mess. Whatever. Okay. Okay. So that's what it looks like now. I feel like it's still hard to read, so I'm going to try to darken it even more, but I kind of like the way it's looking now though. So go back into here. What if I made even the darkest parts of the water dark gray? I wonder if that's taking it too far. It's kind of cool looking though. No, that looks bad. So I have to undo that. Let's see, what else can I do? This is the tricky part when you do everything in red scale, is how to make things in the background stand out. I guess orange is sort of part of red scale, isn't it? Yeah. Let's see. I wonder what would happen if I changed the water to brown. Oof. Well, let's just see how it looks. Doesn't look aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. Hey, Dr. McPickles, I see you there. Are you gonna post this live stream somewhere? So all my live streams, when I'm finished with them, I put them in a playlist called live streams, and they're unlisted, so they don't get posted to my channel. But you can find them if you go to the live stream playlist. That way, when you look at my channel, you can easily find the animations. I don't want there to be like live streams mixed in between everything, you know? Perhaps the rocks need to move. Yeah, probably. I think that might be a good. Try doing a gold river like the stream the other episode. Yeah, well, I would do that because that's kind of the color that the water is usually, but this episode takes place in the past, just to give away a spoiler there. I don't want to. And so it's similar to episode 4, and so everything has to be red. So in that case, I can't stray too far from the red scale, and I think the brown isn't working there. So you know what I might just do is let's see here. That looks okay to me. I actually kind of like removing the highlight altogether because it was too much highlight. The highlight essentially is the cattail and the seeds of the cattail. So I don't want. I don't want there to be too much attention taken away from the foreground. And so if I go back into here, I think it's looking a little bit better. I'm going to move these rocks to the right. I think these rocks are okay. I think I should, I guess my light source has changed, but I guess it doesn't really matter if the light's coming from this angle. So oh, I gotta turn my feather off. I don't want my pixels to blur all of a sudden. Once I figure out the placement of things, then I'll start animating the water. Oh, you're colorblind, eh? So I guess this probably doesn't look that much different, especially if I'm just doing it all in red. Yeah, actually, Jay, I did have the image flipped horizontally before, and then I flipped it again, so my lights, I mean, I could just redraw the rock. It wouldn't really take me that long, but, or just flip the rocks, but, yeah, I'll just leave it for now. I think this is okay, and I like this. I like the lighting. I think this looks a little bit better. When the foreground elements, like the leaves here and the hot dog plant, whatever is moving, cattails, I guess, it's going to look pretty good. I think I'm going to add some more cattails, probably. And so I should do some water animation now, I guess. This is going to be tricky because I have to make everything look like it's moving. R3TRO93. Yes, that's me. I'm the voice of mischief. I can't use purple because it would not be stylistically consistent with episodes that take place in the past. So I only use the purple for certain things, like nighttime shots and the octopus, I guess. Let's see here. Okay. So I got that. I'll probably animate the water at 7.5 frames a second, so. So what I'll do is, actually, I'll just keep this base layer down here. And then I'll make my changes to the layer on a different layer on top, right here. So things like the water reflecting, I can control on its own layer. So in order to do that, I have to like do stuff like this. So that's one frame. Two frames. And then the last one. So that's the one part of the river animated. Coffee. Okay. Next part. So I guess I'll do some black lines. Maybe I'll put it on a separate layer too, just so I can isolate that in case I need to. I'm gonna do like bigger, kind of like streaky ones. And I'll probably do it. I probably should actually do 6 separate animated frames rather than just 3, because if it's a river, it's going to be. So I just basically looped what I just did there, and now I'm going to do it. I don't know if it's going to look good or not. But I need to give the river some movement, so. That's too fast. So I'm going to delete all that and just do it on a smaller scale. If you put the onion skinning on, you can see where the previous frame was drawn. You can see the slight outline there. Maybe I'll have these black lines kind of like split across the rock. VB Aurea, take care, man. Have a good one.
Someone did a drawing during your stream.
Really?
Yeah, go in your fan art.
Okay, I'm gonna check this out.
You can do it.
Thank you, Argo, for that beautiful drawing. So though you guys haven't been in the Discord yet, there's like amazing fan art in here. So, I'll go to this little pixel drawing mischief here. There's some pretty funny stuff too. Stuff is really cool. You guys are so creative. This one's neat. It's like an animated drawing of the ghost character here. That's a really cool rendition too. Anyone see this? It's from Mavi. Filthy Bin. These are really great. So. It's just in quarantine. Oh, someone drew the back of Mischief's head. I don't know why. I just thought that was so funny for some reason.
Because he never showed the back of his head.
Oh yeah, someone made a slug of my face from a Instagram story that I made real quick.
It's pretty much the best emote.
There's some really cool stuff in here. Dude, the thing that trips me up the most is if you type like interface web series or mischief interface on Google Images, like you'll find tons of different like fan art drawings. Like stuff I haven't even seen before. I'm like, it's crazy amount of fan art there is. It's really amazing. So anyway, thank you guys for creating all that stuff. It's fun. I don't go in the Discord very often, but I do go in there just to you know,
shit post
memes
and
stuff. What's that? Yeah. So if I add some more of that like kind of like black movement here. Probably moving a little too fast, but it's okay. Thank you guys. I do have like Mischief Gators. I don't have Mischief face mask because I was reading about the face mask. I'm not sure how well, I don't say anything, but yeah, I don't sell anything like that. The only thing I have is a gator, and it's not a face mask. It's just like a bandana sort of thing. Dude, I've been getting some like emails from some companies. They're like, you should like for like sponsorships and stuff, and it's just all like really scummy stuff. Like people trying to get me like like gloves and face masks right now, like on my channel, and it seems kind of predatory because
it seems.
It's just yeah.
About $100 $100 Mischief toilet paper. Custom toilet paper, Mischief.
Yeah, I don't want to get involved in that sort of thing. Honestly, the Corona Wave video is kind of like broaching, but whatever. This Corona thing, I mean, this is like probably the craziest thing in a long time that's happened. Like, okay. Thanks, Doomer. I'd really love to know what's 3D software you're using to get that tune effect. So essentially what I do is, for those who may or may not know, After Effects comes with Cinema 4D Lite included. So if you pay for After Effects, you get Cinema 4D Lite. And unfortunately, Cinema 4D Lite doesn't have the Tune plugin. That's the full version, and I don't have the full version. So what I do is, maybe I'll show you guys how I do it. I'll open up the Lighthouse. Oops. I got both After Effects 2019 and 2020 because actually this whole way of animating in Photoshop doesn't work in the current version of Premiere 2020. They completely rewrote the engine and screwed it all up. So I'm kind of sketched out about that. I've been using 2019 for everything. Hopefully they fix that because I don't know how I'm going to animate with their new software. I've been putting in bug request forms every update and they just don't even respond. Anyway, so let's see if I can Lighthouse. I do use the 2020 version of After Effects though because there was an alpha bug in the previous versions that was driving me insane. Anyway, I don't want to get into this stuff. It's just annoying. But alright, so I got my Lighthouse here. And this was done with Cinema 4D Lite. So you're wondering how I do it? I'll explain each layer. This layer right up here is the static electricity inside the beacon. So that's not super important. It's essentially a track mat tied to a green screen color. So I can disable that just so just so you know. Okay. What else is there? We got this green in the background. I can disable that. There's nothing going on there. This is the sky in the background. It's a flat image. So that's pretty basic. I can disable that. Clouds are also flat images that are animated by hand. So basic stuff there. essentially the only thing that's 3D in this shot is the lighthouse itself. And so the, sorry, those birds up there are also, I can disable those because they're not part of the, so I have here is 3 layers that make up the lighthouse. I'm going to save this as demo, just so that I don't screw anything up. I can change things. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is delete everything that's not the 3D layer, so it just simplifies things for you guys. Okay. Oh, wait a second, hold on. Yeah, good. Delete that, okay. Okay, so this is my lighthouse layer. So I'm going to open this up. Inside you will find my outline layer, which is the top layer. It's set to, it's actually, if I were to show it by itself, it is black and white with an outline and a threshold and a luma key to get rid of the white. And I add that on top of everything. It gets the black and white outline effect there. What makes up the black outline layer is the 3D rendering Cinema 4D file that has, so this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like in Cinema 4D. I put this plugin called Find Edges. I convert it to black and white, and I blur it so that the lines are blurred a bit. And then, so on that layer, essentially you have this, right? I put the threshold on to give it the black lines, luma key to get rid of the white. So there we go. That's my black outline layer. Then the layers underneath is the shadow layer, which is essentially I do a render pass with different colors. So it's kind of changed to color. I essentially have the lighthouse here, which is the flat lighting, and then I have a shadow layer, which is I duplicate that layer, and using this, which is a separate export as well, it's a black shadow, what do you call it, shadow map, I guess, and using the track matte tool, I set the color shifted duplicated base layer to be darker. Everything's one shade darker. See, if I'm going in like this and enabling all the color changes, it's now darker. And because of the track matte is set to the shadow map, which is disabled, essentially this is what you get. You get a shaded color. No track matte, the whole thing goes shadow. Track matte, it's shadow. So you got that, you got that. Turn on your black outline layer, there you go. Okay. Everything in Cinema 4D is just a simple animation of a model that I made in SketchUp. So that's kind of my method for doing 3D. It's kind of, okay, here's another thing too, like, so I have this layer here. You see how there's no black outline right there? What I do is I pre-compose everything, and then I go like this. I go layer styles, outer glow, I think that's how I did it. And essentially the outer glow just gives it a little bit more of a black outline. So it's a little bit thicker. And you can see the settings down here. Basically size is 2, range is 1, precise, technique. And that now, so at the end of the day, it essentially looks like my drawing. That's my technique. And I kind of developed that method on my own, but that's my way of getting around not having the full version of Cinema 4D, which includes like tune effects, but I don't even know if I used a tune effect if it would look right, so I'm not sure. But now here's another thing. So you're probably wondering, like in the actual drawing of, if I were to open up episode 19, let's see here. Final comps, Lighthouse. I think this is it. Yes. See how this gray shadow is darker than this shadow? And in After Effects, it's not like that. You might be wondering why, how did I get it darker? It's because I manually painted in every frame on top. After I did the render, I thought it might look better if this was darker. So I opened it up in Photoshop, add a video layer on top, and all I had to do is I go back and forth, like back and forth like this, and I have my layer here. I think which one is this one? Forget which one it is. It's this one. No, it's not that one. Which one is it? Oh, I probably just did it on the layer itself. I basically just went like this, took the color I wanted, painted it in. That's all I did. Okay. It's probably not a good idea to do it on the actual layer. And then these like crazy like swirling animations and stuff, all these little things, I did those manually, like this thing right here. These little shapes. So. It's kind of confusing. But once you do it enough times, it becomes kind of intuitive, I guess. I'm definitely working in the Adobe ecosphere. Yeah, I mean, I'm paying so much more money for it. So I'm trying to make the most of it. It's not easy, though, because it seems like every update they screw up something in my workflow. Like, seriously. Let's just close this. Go back to the cattail shot. So I want to put the river background in. Oh, it's already in there. And to animate it, like loop it, without having to just like duplicate the frames, some of you might already know, but you just go enable time remapping. Put a keyframe right at the second last section there. Bring this down to 0. Hold down Alt, click on the little stopwatch tool, and then go to loop out. And now if I drag this out, it will loop. So. Still need a lot of, this needs a lot of work. I was. Have you ever watched $1 Million Extreme videos? Yeah, I've seen a bunch of videos on YouTube. They're pretty funny. I've never seen the show like in like full though. I didn't really have cable TV when that show was around, so. let's see here. Let's add some more water stuff. Have you ever thought about looking into material systems in Cinema 4D? I'm pretty sure you can make it material like that to fit all your different models, so you could just render pass everything in one pass. I haven't really looked into it. Honestly, the whole 3D thing is it's not really my expertise, so you know, maybe if I like in the future I were to do more 3D stuff, I might just, you know, hire someone and then investigate what's possible with doing like the material, you know, but right now I just stick with my basic method because I can either get an episode out or I can spend a month, you know, trying to tweak something within a program, and there's certain limitations I have. I'd rather just, you know, if there was a person that does 3D as a living, basically, I would just get them to do it, you know what I mean? Because I can't. There's only so many things I can do on my own before I start to stretch myself too thin, you know. I did look into doing something. I tried to get it done with one pass before, the 3D stuff, and it just wasn't working. So this is why I have to use my multi-pass method. Hey Don Papa, thank you very much for the comment. How did you get Adult Swim to premiere some of your work on their channel? Speedy McKeezy, they paid me basically, so they own those videos. They just reached out and said, hey, do you want to do some commissions? And, for Adult Swim Smalls is what they call it. So I said yes and agreed on a price, and now they have 4 of my animations. I don't know how they found me. They probably just found my YouTube channel somehow. I don't really know how they discovered my stuff, but they did. So I mean, I know that they have people basically scouting the internet for weird stuff all the time. So if you guys go to their channel and you type in Adult Swim Smalls, there's like crazy animations by these people, and some of these people aren't even that well known. Like, just, you know, they just happen to find these talented people out there that just, you know, so. Wow, you said my name correctly. Nobody does that. What are those things on Mischief's head? They're, I mean, I don't really know what they are, but essentially he absorbs the information, the static electricity through them, so they're kind of like portals into his brain. Of course, he could change into any shape he wanted to, so, I mean, he could change into a shape without them if he really wanted, I guess.
They're designer eyebrows.
They're designer eyebrows, yeah. I mean, like Gucci handbags. Some things just have aesthetics. For aesthetics purposes only. Okay, my river's looking okay now, I guess, but I still need to do more. Here's another thing I like to do is I chop off one, because this is at 7.5 frames a second on a 15 frame a second base. If you chop off one layer, it animates at a half frame. See? So it makes the motion feel a bit more fluid. They kind of look like chopped up off horns. That's kind of also a part of, I don't want to get into much about like the reason why things are, because I leave that up to the show. But yeah, I'd say it's a possibility, yes, for sure, that they were chopped off. So I'm going to add some different, more like dark red here, just to break up some of the colors even more, to make it feel a little bit more natural. So there we go. My frames, I use 15 frames a second as my base frame a second. Okay, so if I open up After Effects now, it's starting to look a little bit better, but I don't know, maybe it's starting to look like too much, So I might just like put another layer right on top here. This is what takes me so long, is just doing little tweaks like this, And animating water is pretty tricky on its own. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I could do other things too, like I can just do this, disable all this for now. You could put a adjustment layer. I think you could put a mask on an adjustment layer, I'm not sure. Well, let's just see. Oh, I see how it kind of makes it look like water there. This is a really crappy version of it, but see if I can add another mask. That's not how it works. I have to put them all in the same mask, I think. Or just put the rocks on a separate layer. Make the rocks move. See how that kind of makes the water look like. I probably would make it really subtle though. Turn everything else back on. Your on-screen chat is duplicating every comment, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. There's always something buggy going on. Angel002, I use Logic. I use Logic Studio. Okay, guys, I think I'm out finishing up today because I'm starting to not think properly. Usually happens about an hour or two after I start streaming. But okay, so this is what I did today. Essentially, I started animating in these little seeds. I got these the river in the background here. I'm probably gonna have to do a lot to this shot to make it look nice, but it's a good start, I think. So. This is the first shot for episode 20 I have worked on, so I have quite a ways to go. Anyway, I hope you guys have
Did you guys see my painting?
What's that?
Did you see my painting?
Where is it?
The painting you posted in the community tab.
Did they see your painting?
The lighthouse painting?
Yes. What are you asking?
Did they see it?
Oh my god. Caroline is asking if you saw her painting. And so if you haven't seen it yet, you go to the community tab on my channel and you can see the lighthouse she did in watercolor. And she's very proud of that painting. So
I just want to show it to people.
She just wants to show it to people. So you can check that out if you want. It's on the community tab. So I'm going to finish up today. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Yeah, don't forget to scrub your hands, wash your face, and avoid people in public because I don't want any of you guys getting sick. You really don't want to get coronavirus. I was watching some videos and it looks nasty. So yeah. All right, guys. Until next time, thank you everyone who has super chatted me and supported me, and everyone else who's just been hanging out with me today in the chat. I really do appreciate it. All right, see y'all until next time.